Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at techtrader.com. It's Thursday night, the 9th of July, my wife's birthday, and I'll be taking her out for a minute. But let's get to the charts for the day. We had a really strange day in Wall Street with a huge gap up and then a real deep pullback. And tonight the futures are up again, so volatility extraordinaire. Let's look at some of the stocks that were pretty good today. That acted very well. A stock that I know Slider and some other people have been in for a while, it's been acting phenomenal. Look at this ANAC Anacor. Just since December, when we're trading at 29.5, it's now up to 83 today. And it looks like a stock that's headed to 100. It may be headed to 125 or maybe a takeover. But in any case, I wanted to point out that today's action was a breakout of the recent trading range to new all-time highs. No reason why this stock can't keep going, particularly when a stock acts like that in a market like this. Excellent relative strength. BEAT, beat had a big pop today from 890 to 1064, backed off to 1007, up 113, but still up 12.6%. 827,000 was the biggest volume in a couple months, and more importantly, it broke out across key resistance. With 8.8 days to cover, we may very well see a stock that's in the midst of a move to retest that 11 and a quarter, maybe even 12 range by short-term targets and resistance. Now, looking back, if it gets through that 12 range, you can see that this is multi-year highs, and that consolidation of the last several years, if at least can lead to 16 or 17 on a longer term basis once we get to breakout. But watch for a zone penetration in that area. Now support obviously down there 885.9. Up next is ETSY. Now SE had an interesting breakout today. If you take a look at the pattern, ever since the IPO and move into the mid 30s, taking it all the way down to 13, under 13 actually, and that the recent action here represents kind of a falling wedge, which had popped out over the last 2 days. Today the volume picked up to 1.9 million. They jumped to $1.65. It closed just a nickel off the high, or 11%. This is actually looking much better. I'm looking for a test of 17.17 and a quarter as early as tomorrow. But the real big new target is 18.40.50, and maybe even a gap fill up towards 19. This is what the short-term target where the short-term resistance is, and where I argue could be a good short-term trading target in that zone there. So let's see if there's a follow through and we get some action. FIT, well, I'm going to look at this on a 15-minute chart. This is a fairly new issue. And you'll see that after the IPO popped a bit, it came down over a week and a half period, gapped again and ran up sharply, moving it from about 33 all the way up to 44. And then pulled back. Now that's support in this zone here, about 38.5. Okay, if we hold it, and this coil looks awfully bullish, I'm a believer that the stock is going to make 47 short term, and it may make as high as 50 short term. This is, I believe, coming out of its quiet period. There may be several firms upgrading it. Keep an eye on FIT going forward. It looks pretty intriguing. FTK, well, looking at FTK on a daily basis, you'll see that a long downtrend after a big uptrend. Let's look at the last few years before that. Monster move from the 4-5 range all the way up into the low mid 30s. Finally, the stock rolled over after this head and shoulder formed. Multiple waves down, but I believe that we may be in a process after I moved from 30, nearly 33 down to the 10-12 range. Let's see what the low is here. 11, so 30, lost 2/3 of its value, but in the last couple months it's based out. Today was a particularly good day, and it jumped from 1184 to 1342, close 1307, up 145. That was a 12.5% gain on $1,000,007. Has not quite broken out yet, but it's worth watching. We could get this up about 13.5 as early as tomorrow. We could run into 14.5, 15, maybe 15.75 before we encounter lateral price resistance and a declining tops line coming in that area. So I'm looking for a follow through. MBLY has been just a beauty since we gave you a swing trade back in March. It's moved from the 37.8 range all the way up to 57.8, and at this point we're in a challenge mode for the all-time post-IPO highs, which came in at 60.25 back in October. So this is a little like a 7-8 month high, but more importantly, if we blow through here, we blow through everything, the top of the channel, lateral price resistance, and we could accelerate to the mid-60s, my target. However, I'll also caution you to be careful about anything that moves below recent support around 55.50. That's your current support right there. NEO, well, I haven't talked about the stock much But look at the last couple of years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe the fifth wave starting. There's a possibility that we have resistance right here that could thwart the advance. But at the same time, if it accelerates to the top of the channel, then you can see 8 3/4 in the stock. Keep an eye on it. NVAX, our swing trade, acting great with a beautiful pop today of $1.20 or 11% on 7.2 million nearly. The biggest volume in 3 weeks, breaks it out. Targeting 13 3/4 and 16 going forward. TGTX with a good day today. Moving up 99 cents or almost 6% on the best volume in about 3 weeks. OBV's moving up steadily. It's got to take out this area, and I'm looking for that tomorrow through 18. I think we roll. The next target will be a quick move to 19, 20. Let's call it 20. So through 18 we get 20. Through 20 I'm looking for 23.4. I just like the configuration and the OBV and the other technicals. And lastly, today is Zoma. Big day today, up 77 cents, closing near the highs for the day, up 21% on 13 million of it, 12.9 million. That's the biggest volume on an up day, going way back. So maybe something up here. It went through double topped, almost triple topped today. The next target, a test of that zone up around 5. You get through 5, I'm looking for 590. Those are your short-term targets. And that's it for tonight. Have a good evening, everyone.